Before we get into it, I wanted to say that this video is not monetized. The last thing I would ever want to do is make, like, a dime off of this man's death. Second, if you like the wonderful art used in the thumbnail, it was done by my good friend Alexa. You can check her out, her Twitter is @PatchyHaru. Check her out, link in the description.
Joy-Con boys?
Joy-Con boys. I really want to get
Joy-Con
a fucking
boys.
Joy-Con boys shirt now.
He used to sell them,
Yeah.
but they ran out.
Yeah, I assume those are going to be very, very valuable collector's items for a very sad reason.
Yeah. He had many brands, like, you know, Iceman Etika, Triceman Etika, Etika World Network, and then eventually just went on as Etika. And the Joy-Con boys actually came around because of, like, when he did the fake switch to... How did you guys find Etika?
I found him through the Mewtwo reaction.
Yeah, same. I found him through the Mewtwo reaction, which is still my favorite, like, creation of his.
Yeah.
I think I've quoted that thing every single time I've used Mewtwo in Smash in the past several years.
I found him because I used to watch a YouTuber called Gobanermani456, and he did, like, Sonic videos. But he was friends with Etika, and they were still friends. I mean, like, even recently they streamed together, but, like, Kobe stopped making videos, and, well, now Etika has too. But I did eventually start watching his content as well, and tuning into his streams, like, back in 2016 fall. I've been watching since then. If I had to say what exactly I liked about Etika's streams, is just, like, on YouTube, I don't think beforehand I've ever seen someone so fucking genuine before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can tell with, like, everything he said, he meant it. Everything he, like, did, he meant it. And he always tried to be, like, as real as possible. Like, he didn't care how he was viewed. He was just being him, and he wanted, like, everyone to also be themselves. And it's, like, one of the main reasons why I, like, was able to call Etika my favorite YouTuber. Is in a way he, like, kind of inspired me to be a similar way, and to, like, even, like, create content in a similar way.
Yeah, like, Etika was always such a genuine dude. He never really got into any, like, drama that I can remember.
Right.
Because he was always just him, just having a good time, like, every now and again he would bring up a more serious kind of topic, but there was always, like, a good intention behind it, you know?
Yeah, and it was always to, like, spread a message, or just tell people to not take it too seriously.
Yeah.
It was always, like, that was always, like, the main point, is just take it easy, have fun with it, don't stress too much.
He always managed to make everything he did entertaining, even when he, like, would stall games that he'd been play all the time, and everyone would always go, like, oh, you're stalling, play the game. Even when he did it, we were still entertained just by him just speaking. He just had something about him that was, like, built for entertainment.
And that natural charisma.
Yeah, that's what his natural charisma, like, drew people to him. That's why he was, like, so popular. Like, even for a channel that wasn't at 1 million subs, he was way more popular than a channel that had, like, 3 million.
Yeah, like, Etika was, like, a household name. Like, there's some channels out there that have, like, 50 million subscribers, and I'll just find out about them, and I'll be like, this guy existed?
Who's this?
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like everybody kinda knew who Etika was.
Yeah, everybody had, like, a vague understanding of who Etika was. Like, even if you didn't watch his content, even if you'd only seen one video, or even if you haven't seen any videos, like, you knew who he was.
Yeah, he kind of, like, permeated himself through the YouTube space, you know?
He had an iconic voice, an iconic look, an iconic just way of doing things. And you remember that.
He always made sure to do things that not only he enjoyed, but that other people enjoyed. Like, and I do mean, like, everything he did was enjoyable. Whether watching him buy a fucking flamethrower on stream, or breaking a damn light bulb on his head. I don't know, it was just always entertaining. Watching all the fucking Nintendo Directs he'd stream is not going to be the same without having him there.
Yeah, like, that was the thing, is that whenever something big was announced, my second thought after seeing it was, like, how did Etika react? Like, every big Smash reveal, like Cloud, Bayonetta, it was always, alright, but what did Etika think?
It was like he was part of the actual announcement.
Yeah, it really was. It was like he was like the second event, you know?
And I'm sure a lot of people also saw it that way. Like, for the past like what three E3s, 3 or 4 E3s, I don't know, since 2016. I watched every single one like with Etika. He just finds a way to make it entertaining, especially like the Nintendo one. I even watched his Nintendo reaction like this month. Like, I'm not gonna be able to do that next.
Yeah, that's like something I was thinking about earlier that got me depressed is like the guy didn't even live to see the end of the Switch's lifespan. It's like think about all the shit that he's gonna miss out on, all the like announcements and just stuff that the guy's never gonna experience.
There's 2 more Smash characters.
Yeah.
Oh god, you're right. Oh no.
We might like Goku might have been the next Smash character for all we know.
Oh my god.
Like that sucks, dude. I can visualize him being like Goku, you know?
He got to see Banjo in Smash though.
He did, yeah.
He got to see that at the very least.
You have to see Ridley.
He did get to see Ridley.
I don't think I would have ever. I don't think I ever considered suicide. To be honest, like when he was going through his mental breakdown shit back in October, a lot of people were scared because it seemed like he was hinting at it, but I never thought it was that. I mean, it wasn't that. Well, it might have been now. We don't even know if it was because people always like associate all of the situations with mental breakdown, which the second one certainly was. Obviously, the one from like a few months ago was, but the first one seemed a lot more planned to be like an on strike sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even when it was like we didn't know what it was, I never considered suicide because I never thought Etika was the type.
Yeah, like the thing about Etika that made like his whole situation so hard to kind of make sense of was the fact that he is such a bombastic, like honest kind of guy. So it's like when he's saying things that like how do I put this that like he thinks is the truth, but everybody else knows like this is silly. It's like it's hard to tell like kind of where he's coming from. I think the thing that first made me go, okay, this is not normal, was I'm pretty sure this was the video he made after his Twitch account got shut down, yeah? The one where he was like freaking out. This was the one he uploaded, I think, right before he got his own channel taken down with all the porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the first one where I was like, this is not normal Etika behavior.
Even the one where he said like the N-word and got like banned.
Yeah, the one where he was like obviously like actually angry.
He deleted all of his videos and that was the only one on his channel.
Yeah.
And there are like few times where we've seen Etika be angry, like the chargeback shit was like one of them.
Yeah.
He was like very angry, and I've gone back to that video so many times in the past because just Etika, he's just really good at speaking. Really, he knows what to say, and you really believe everything he says.
Etika, like unironically, probably could have run for president and probably would have had a decent following.
Yeah.
He definitely could have run for mayor of New York.
Yeah, dude, Mayor Etika? Fuck, dude. Why can't we live in that timeline? Shit.
I mean, I've said it before. I kind of would have rather he did punch the cop if it meant he got arrested instead.
If he got treatment and if he was put where he couldn't hurt himself.
Like, I think it was, I did not think it was anything mental ill back then. It was very clearly mental illness the second time, as much as he didn't say it and as much as he seemed to go back to normal afterward. Because it always felt like he was flipping a switch, and he never even properly addressed it the second time around. He just says like, oh, it's just fine, it's whatever.
Yeah, that's how you know something is like actually really not right, is when people give these kind of half apologies or like half explain the situation.
This is where it's like, oh, I'm sorry, let's just move on from this. Like,
yeah,
it was like he wasn't really aware
of what he did.
Like he was so unaware and so like dismissive of the situation that it almost made me think like, am I the one who doesn't realize?
Yeah, it's like I think that part of the problem was that Etika like he is such a wacky kind of dude. I think a lot of people had a misinterpretation about the man's actual character. So whenever he did things like assault a police officer, people were like, that's Etika. But no, that was not Etika. Etika is the guy that like destroys his shelf when cool announcements happen. Not like punch a cop.
Etika, like I don't know when he got like taken away, when he was detained by the police, and there's people cheering and going Joy-Con boys like that. Why would you? What do you think this is? Like that video hurts so much. Like
he did get like a following of enablers during that whole situation.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
there were so many people like just enabling him to do it. Like, like when he said, "Oh, one should have my next mental breakdown." And people were like, "Yeah, you should do it. Just do it on this date." And it did happen on that date. So we don't even know if that was planned or not. Like the real thing that like hurts me a lot about it is a month prior to him having the second breakdown is he started uploading again, like, because he hadn't uploaded in like ages. He just streamed after he came back from the one in October, and he was going on about all these games he was trying to play, and how he felt like a new person. Now he's finally like been able to express his annoyance with YouTube, because it's very obvious social media had a lot to do with his stress.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because it is possible that I still don't know if the first breakdown had anything to do with mental illness, but I do think it's a stress from it could have led to a mental illness. Be considered, like, because he had an actual reasoning the first time around. It's just he was going on strike because he was being like abused by YouTube essentially just because of the way he speaks. But eventually,
it was a mental illness with that. Like, just the stress of being a content creator and knowing that like your income is based off of basically your personality, and when the company that's in charge of basically your livelihood is like, oh, you can't have your personality on this, like that,
yeah, essentially,
and probably hate comments or like anything like that can easily affect you and get beneath your skin. So just that on top of a pre-existing illness is probably what triggered the first one, and I really think he was just really good at acting it off. He's like, oh no, this was all planned ahead of time. I don't think he intended to go as far as he did.
There was a lot of people who definitely saw it as a stunt, and there's people like all the way up until the end. And I could fine, sure, I can understand people thinking the first one was a stunt. It wasn't. I mean, well, no, it was, but he had an actual reasoning for it. But maybe you just didn't see the fucking Twitch video, because he only explained it in like a Twitch video. He did it on his channel. It wasn't on Twitter, so fine, you didn't see that one. But I don't see how anybody could see like how the second one was a stunt, because there was a lot of people who thought he was just doing it for publicity. It's like, no, if you know Etika, he wouldn't do this a second time for no good reason at all.
Yeah, like eventually stunts like stop being stunts and just be like start being really dumb shit. Like, remember when the cops like raided his house? Like that's an elaborate and very not smart stunt to try and orchestrate.
Yeah, he was left without a lock, like, for a good while, and he doxed his address and his phone number. That's not a stunt.
Yeah, that's just like not thinking. That's like when your mind is so preoccupied with other shit, you're just like, yeah, whatever, here's the fucking, I don't know what you would call it, like the exit slip I got from the mental hospital. And that's another thing, is that, like, every fucking New York mental hospital or wherever he went needs to be, like, shut down or something.
He was let out,
those
like, the
guys
day
are
he was in.
fucking incompetent.
There's gotta be, there were so many signs. There were signs everywhere. He was fucking detained 3 times in a row. Every single time he got detained, he got let out in like somewhere between 1 to 5 days, and then he was back the next day because he would just continue, because he just signed himself out. Because he, like, a lot of things people say is like the reason is because he himself didn't want help, but he desperately needed it, clearly, and he didn't like realize it himself to the last moment. But I don't know, there just had to be something better that could have been done with signs like that, with a following like Etika's. It was clear something was gonna happen.
Yeah, and it's like everybody, like, in his real life who gave a shit about him was, like, telling the mental hospitals and all, like, do not let him out.
Can't let him out.
But they did. Yeah.
They did.
Like, when he got out and he, like, kind of went back to normal, it was so clear that it was just temporary, and it probably would happen again, because nothing really changed other than the fact that he had switched back.
Yeah, like, some of those streams he did, I forget the exact chronology of events, but some of the streams he did after, like, the one where he's just playing Smash in total silence, are very, very disturbing. Like, those are really hard to watch.
Well, everything was completely different from what he normally does. Even the way the camera was, like, faced, it was faced directly at Etika, when he's never, like, had the camera faced that way. He was in complete silence. That's never what Etika does. He had the music like blaring with like He didn't say anything, and then he like quoted one of the comments that was like, "Oh, you need to seek help or something," and he said that, and then just ended the stream with like no explanation.
Yeah.
The signs were there. We all saw it. We all wanted to do something about it, but there was nothing that we did do, or there was nothing more that we really could have done.
Yeah, it's like the larger audience really can't do much, you know? Like at most we can say, hey man, get some help, but it was obvious at the time he didn't want help.
There's a very strong sense of like, we could have stopped this when it comes in regards to this entire situation, but we weren't able to.
Yeah, like I think it's just human nature to be like, okay, like whose fault is this? But it's like at the end of the day, as messed up as this is, it's really nobody's own fault but Etika, because he's the one who decided to, you know, end it all. But it's like the mental hospitals could have just not let the guy out, you know? So I feel like a lot of the blame has to do with the fucking like the health system, at least in New York.
He was in a very dark place, and he decided he didn't want to deal with the stress that came from it. He never fucking looked, he never seemed like the kind of person who would go through that kind of thing. You never think he would, but it just kind of shows that anybody could, and he needed help, but I don't know, I think Etika probably realized, like, at the last moment that he caused a lot of troubles and probably felt guilty with it, as well as scared about what he is and what he's like become.
Yeah.
And didn't want to deal with it. And well, sadly, he did choose the worst way out. When, like, I don't know, he could have gotten help. He could have done something, but he didn't want any help. He didn't think he was worth it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I think that from his perspective, he was also kind of thinking about his own future. Because let's just say that he did get the help he needed and everything was pretty much back to normal. There's never really any going back from like what happened. He was always gonna kind of have that stigma attached to him from like all the wacky stuff he did, you know?
People always said he also did it for money, but like if he did it for money, he wouldn't get rid of a channel that had over 900,000 subs. And Etika was never a for the money person. He's always said that. He's always said he doesn't need the money. He gets enough money from his streams. He like raises the amount he gets so that way people don't donate rather than so he can get more money. He chooses to turn off donations sometimes when he plays games so he can focus, because like he's never been that. He always says like he kind of misses when he had smaller streams, which I guess adds to the stress of social media, because like there's so many eyes watching him. He's been like saying that for years as well, that there's too many people watching him.
Yeah, like I think that like something about the whole social media being on computers all day thing is not natural. Like that's something we've only been able to do for like only a few decades, you know? Like
30 years.
Yeah, like 30 years. Like we've only had computers since the middle of the fucking 20th century, you know? Like this is not something we're used to as a species. Like this really is the first kind of generation of people that's grown up on this stuff. So we're almost like the test dummies for how human beings like react to more or less unlimited attention from strangers, you know?
More so like computers being young, YouTube is young, and how YouTube affects both viewers and YouTubers is like a kind of a new concept.
Oh yeah.
Because it's certainly a stress that, you know, from the outside you wouldn't realize, but like there's a lot going down behind those screens, behind the voices of the people uploading to begin with. I know when he uploaded the suicide video, when we found out he disappeared, we all thought it, but I'm pretty sure everyone was in disbelief that it happened. And then his stuff was found on the bridge.
Yeah.
And then they found the body in the river. We still that fit his description. We still didn't want to think it was him, but it was.
Yeah, I really hope the guy just kind of went missing, you know? Like he just decided, I'm just gonna go off the radar totally, but that's not what happened, unfortunately.
He really was my favorite YouTuber. Like he really did like inspire me to be more of a genuine person myself, because just like how great he was, and like I owe him a lot, really. And I guess Rest in peace.
Yeah, it's like, it obviously sucks no matter, like, who decides to kill themselves, but I think with Etika, there's something very painful about it, because he was always just the optimistic, like, see the bright side in things, the excited guy. He was the guy that was always looking forward to something, you know?
Exactly. This situation just goes more to show there's a person behind that screen, more so than just what you see.
Etika always went on about how you don't really know the people you see online until you like personally get to know them. There could have been a better way to do this. There could have. I mean, everyone has like horrible times and horrible days, but there's also like good days, like better days than that. It's not just one or the other. And he could have been better, but he decided it was too much for him.
Yeah, like, that's why I'm always kind of in favor of not turning, like, YouTube into your job, because it really does have a very negative effect on people. Like, I've been there personally. There was a time in my life where I was like, I'm gonna do this as, like, my primary source of income, and I was just miserable. It psychologically takes all the fun out of it, and I think that had something to do with, like, what happened to him, because, like, he knew that unless he keeps doing it, he's gonna have to get, like, a normal job or whatever, and, like, that probably wouldn't have been too big of a deal. It still has a bad impact on you when you know that your own livelihood is dependent on, like, a bunch of people that you don't know.
I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Like, YouTube really will never feel quite the same without him, because, like we said a second ago, we're never gonna be able to have, like, the next Nintendo Direct or whatever, and we get to go say, okay, but what did Etika think, you know? Like, that's over.
It's gonna hit hard when I inevitably watch the next Nintendo Direct, and then I'm gonna think, oh, I'm gonna go watch Etika's video, and then I realize...
No, you won't.
Yeah, plus, like, I have such a strong association with the Switch and Etika that I think every time I'm ever gonna turn this thing on, I'm gonna be like, yeah, this was Etika's console. As kind of weird as it is to think that, but it really was. That was his console. Like, the man he had his Switch in his backpack. Like, before he decided to take his life.
Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, both Etika and Iwata's console, really. Like, I know one of my friends DM'd me, like, the day it happened, saying, I'd like to think Iwata and Etika are playing Wii Sports Bowling in heaven.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a sad image. Like, the idea of Iwata and fucking Etika watching a Nintendo Direct together.
Guys, stop. I'm actually...
I know, I'm starting to get teary-eyed, shit.
Etika did a lot, and means a lot to everyone, I'm sure. And, well, rest in peace, I guess.
Yeah.
Joy-Con boys.
Joy-Con boys, dude.
Joy-Con boys.